Hey guys, let me know what you think by liking and commenting, and it really helps me and this channel out when you subscribe, so please click that button. Thanks a bunch. Alright everyone, today's episode is brought to you by Super Smooth Hobby Lubricants. Super Smooth Hobby Lubricants are 100% synthetic, and they come in medium oil versions, light oil, and PTFE or Teflon grease in this handy tube. These are very recent and modern formulations. The company that actually manufactures the oil and grease for Super Smooth is a very, very well-known company, and Super Smooth worked with their chemists to make sure that these would fulfill the needs of modern hobbyists. These formulas are specifically designed not to gum up, and they're designed also not to attract any kind of grease or dirt or dust. So remember Super Smooth. It's slicker than smooth. Okay, everybody. Today I've got a really interesting find. This is something I found that was just advertised on eBay, and it looked kind of cool. Even though it's Hungarian make, it's actually Greek. All right, remember what happened last time? Somebody lost some privileges around here. Yeah, that's what happened last time when someone couldn't do what they were supposed to do and not interrupt my video. So why don't we not do that? Thank you. Okay, anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah, so I found this thing on eBay. It's kind of inexpensive, so I figured, well, I'll get it and see what I can do with it. If I can't do anything with it, I'll just move it on, maybe. Anyhow, it's made by a company called Fuggerth. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's Hungarian, and I know very, very little. In fact, I didn't even know there was a model railroad company based out of Hungary. I have no idea how old this thing is, no idea about anything about it, but it's not Hungarian. Well, it is a Hungarian locomotive, actually. It's a Class 41 Hungarian locomotive, but they sold some to Greece, and they ran those things there until a few years ago, it looks like. It doesn't look like they do anymore, but it looks like they ran them until just a little bit ago. I just can't tell from looking at this thing how old it is. I didn't look to see if there's any copyright information, but I don't know if you noticed, and here's the little detail parts. I may have to put some of those on. But I don't know if you noticed, but it said that this model is approved for anyone over 3 years of age. 3 years of age. So they have slightly different standards there. Let's get some of those out of the way. But 3 years is a little bit lower than the recommended 14 that most other manufacturers have. Yeah, it looks like, not super detailed. Looks like we got some windshield wipers. Well, that's not too bad. We'll have to get those on. Goodness knows how long this thing's been running around. Let's take a closer look at it here. Yeah, it's definitely, it's kind of bulging. I'm not sure what's up with that. And, it has a slider. Ooh, does that mean that it has an AC motor in it? Am I going to have to do some sort of rectifier conversion? So it has an AC slider. Please let that just be the pickup, and there's a DC motor in it somewhere. All right, not the most detailed model, that's for sure. There's a lot of molded on parts. This grill here isn't molded on, it's painted, but you know what? It's just kind of cool for what it is. And there's that slider. Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm just gonna have to take off the shell and see what's waiting. And there's like no separately molded fans or anything in there. There's no cab interior detail, so it's a bit of a throwback model, but again, some of these smaller manufacturers they just can't do those things, or at least they couldn't. But there it is. It's Greek, number A255. To go look that up and see if I can find real photos of it. Yeah, there's the exhaust stack. Isn't even painted black, but let's go ahead and pull this apart. What I'm really curious to find out is if there's an AC motor with some sort of mechanical reversing switch in there, something like that. And if that's the case, it is a DC motor, and it is already DCC. In fact, there's a DCC chip in it, so that's great. It's going to help me out a lot. It looks like it was added on after the fact, but that's fine. Okay, well, fair enough. Looks like if it works, it'll be easy to work with. Let me take this off of here. There's nothing special under here. It's just a plate to make sure that all the wires kind of stay out of the motor area. I'm not even sure if this is necessary or not, but I don't know. Is this a professional job? Is this like from the factory? Well, this circuit board must be, right? It fits in there perfectly. So this has to be a factory installed circuit board, I would think. But this, I don't know. It's a lot of green tape. This is a really interesting model. It has an actual professionally done circuit board. And then what's causing this? What's causing that to stick up? So one of the interesting things that you find on the internet. Goodness knows, I'm a historian by trade, or at least I was till I retired. And my historian's mind always wants to know what's going on with these types of things. It seems like they've been making this model at least since the 1990s, and they've probably been making it earlier in its Hungarian form. Here is an announcement for A253. I have A255, but maybe it's fairly recent because the instructions actually had an email address and website on it, so that gives me some clue there. Here's a database saying that A255 was made starting around 2000, but that one might be different than the one I have, because if you look at this one, which I believe is newer, there are some changes such as the coupler and the bumpers. It's just hard to find out about models like this, particularly here in the US. I'll do some more digging, but either way, the model is going to be enjoyable and I'm going to have fun running it. Let's get back to this look at the actual model itself. So there you go. It's single flywheel, single drive. It's not driven on both ends. It's only driven on one. So, but this is a huge chunk of metal, so we should be fine there in terms of weight and pulling power. The other thing I'm wondering is the fact that this thing has it looks like this decoder board. Let's see if I can spin around. It looks like the decoder board here is purposefully made for it. What's this? I just can't figure out why this is kind of bouncing around. Looks like there's a diode or something in there that's preventing this thing from gently going all the way up. In fact, let me take a look. Yeah, it looks like this was modified. I can't quite tell. So it looks like the diode is in there to make the light directional when it's in analog mode, but it's doing nothing now. In fact, the resistor on the other side is clipped as well. So I'm having troubles determining sort of what's gone on with this model. It looks like the board is purpose-built to be put in there, but it almost looks like it could be aftermarket too, because this diode and the resistor are clipped off. But I think that's what's making this thing difficult to, I think that's what's preventing this from getting in there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just clip those off, because I just don't think they're used anymore. And what's nice is look at all this space here. Since this is only a single truck drive, yeah, the actual shaft is there though. If you wanted to make it double, but you need a tower set for it. But this space in here is going to be absolutely excellent for making a speaker box. So that's what I'm going to use that space for. So let's go ahead and measure that, and I'll cut that diode and resistor out. So let's do this. right, so there's what everything looks like put together. Again, I've used some dry tack here to make sure these wires just kind of stay in place. And so I'm gonna use a lock sound decoder. So I think that'll work fine. And there's that little speaker box glued to the bottom side of the circuit board, and it fires down into the wheel well, so I think it should be fine. I actually had pulled this controller out of a different locomotive. I'm gonna replace it with a Soundtrax Economy, and let's just see if it works. It looks like it does. Looks like it works just fine, except it's hitching a little bit. And part of the reason why is I've only got the return going into one of the rails, and this track is probably dirty, so let's see. Is it working? Yeah, I think it'll work fine. And when I get it on my main track and both returns are working, and maybe I clean the wheels a little bit, I think this will be good to go. I think it's in good shape. All right, let's go ahead and load up the decoder. Now, one thing I noticed is that they do not offer this. They just simply don't offer this as a sound file. But if you notice, it said that it started to replace these locomotive engines with MTU and Caterpillar engines, so I can certainly find both of those, and those would be close enough. And you know, if somebody knows what this should sound like, maybe exactly when it ran, that's fine, let me know. And it's pretty easy for me to change this out. But for now, just go ahead and find some MTU thing that has dual horns, and I think it should be close enough. There's just not a lot of Hungarian stuff, so I think this will work fine. 12-cylinder MTU. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, download it, and we will load up the lock programmer here. I think, is it gonna come up? It's gonna work? Yeah, let's go ahead and, there we go. It's coming up. And we will go ahead and load what I think is a relatively large sound file. Yeah, if you look up here, you can see that this thing's gonna take up quite a bit of the decoder. So we'll go ahead and start that process, and we'll see what turns out on the other side. Yeah, that'll be fine. I've got some TV to watch or something while this is writing sound data. All right, a few moments later, and let's see if this works. Okay, well, that's not very ideal, but I'm pretty sure after this thing runs in a little bit and after I get it onto my main track, which has a little bit more voltage, a little bit more amperage, and I'm using both returns, pretty sure this will work fine. So let's get some of these detail pieces on here and finish this up. And is actually usually the case. I actually had this consist before I had the locomotive. I have a lot of consists that I purchase, particularly when I find them cheap, but nothing to run them. But now I'm happy to have a Greek locomotive to run this Greek consist. Here you go. It's nice though. OSE, or is it? Well, it's not OSE since it's Greek, but either way, you get the idea. Looks pretty nice. I think every single one of these that I have is a second class compartment car, except for one, so there's not going to be any first class, no dining car. I don't have anything like that. Felt kind of lucky just to find these as it was, because I actually have one more, one of these is a combo car, and I have another combine somewhere else around here too, but it doesn't have trucks, so I'll just not worry about that for now. All right, so I think that's about it. Finally got myself a Greek locomotive to go with this Greek consist. Let's go ahead and put it on the track and see what we get. Okay, there you have it. It's going to be a pretty neat locomotive, and again, I'm happy to actually have this in my lineup. If anyone knows about this, hey, let me know. I'd like to know more about this model and about Fuggerth or whatever the company is called. And I wonder if they make Ukrainian locomotives. I've got a Ukrainian consist, actually, and a couple others. I've got some from Croatia that are waiting around for something to pull it, but nothing to pull it. But at least we took care of this Greek problem, and yay for that. This locomotive's running buddy is actually going to be another Hungarian locomotive, the Hungarian MAV Gigant. I will post that in another video because I've been itching. I've got it out of the box, but I haven't posted it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. I finally kind of completed that consist as well, so I'm going to post that as well. So 2 Hungarian locomotives. So if you're into Hungarian locomotives, this will be a good day for you. All right, well, as always, I hope you have a safe and wonderful time out there, and I wish you all the best. Please comment and like, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out a lot. Please subscribe. Do any of those things, and I promise you, you have made my day. So if you don't mind, I would really appreciate it. So if you're out there, happy model railroading. Take care. I'll talk to you later. See ya.